June 1944, Normandy, France, United States 2nd Armored Division. General Maurice Rose, Sherman M4-A2 range 600 miles at 25 miles per hour. Flames roared across the battlefield, engulfing hedgerows in a blazing curtain meant to stop the American advance. German soldiers crouched in shallow trenches, watched as Panzerfaust rounds and flamethrowers struck the Sherman M4-A2 tanks grinding through Normandy's bocage. Their jaws tightened, the tanks kept moving. Engines rumbled, tracks clawed the earth, and the steel machines surged forward, ignoring the fire that should have destroyed them. To the Germans, fire meant a tank's end, yet these Shermans defied it. Whispers of disbelief spread through their ranks. The M4-A2, with its sloped frontal armor and low profile, absorbed incendiary hits that would have gutted their Panzer IVs. Each tank, weighing 33 tons, advanced steadily, its crew unseen but resolute. German officers, expecting smouldering hulks, saw instead Shermans closing in their 75mm guns, firing with calm precision. The number that matters is endurance. Shermans survived where others burned. Soldiers muttered about American engineering, their confidence fraying as machines refused to ignite. The battlefield, thick with smoke and diesel fumes, revealed a grim truth. German tactics tested against Soviet 34s, and British Churchills faltered here. The Sherman's design, built for crew survival and sustained combat, turned fire into a mere obstacle. As shells burst and flames licked the hulls, the United States 2nd Armored Division pressed toward Saint-Lô. German troops clutching rifles faced not just steel but a relentless will. Flames faded into smoke as the Sherman M4-A2 tanks of the United States 2nd Armored Division rolled through Normandy's shattered fields, their advance unbroken. By summer 1944, the Allies had breached Hitler's Atlantic Wall, storming Normandy's beaches and carving a path into Western Europe. General Maurice Rose's 2nd Armored Division led the charge, their M4-A2 tanks cutting through German lines. These machines, built in American factories at a staggering pace, over 40,000 Shermans by 1945, outstripped Germany's production tenfold. The M4-A2, powered by twin diesel engines, covered 600 miles at 25 miles per hour, a range that kept it moving where German tanks stalled. Unlike the German Tiger I, with its 88mm gun and 100 tons of steel, the Sherman was lighter, nimbler, and engineered for endurance over brute force. German tactics leaned on fire to break enemy armor flamethrowers, projecting 50 meters incendiary shells, and Panzerfaust rockets designed to ignite fuel and trap crews in burning coffins. Their Panzer IVs and Panthers, though heavily armed, often fell to these same weapons when struck. The Sherman, however, defied expectation. Its fuel tanks, mounted low and shielded by steel plates, resisted ignition. Wet ammunition storage, adopted in 1943, encased 75mm rounds in liquid to smother sparks. These choices made the M4-A2 less likely to burn than German tanks, where exposed fuel lines invited catastrophe. German commanders, certain their fire tactics would cripple the American advance, miscalculated. The number that matters is production. 40,000 Shermans overwhelmed 6,000 German tanks. As Allied forces drove toward the Rhine, the M4-A2's ability to shrug off flames disrupted German defenses, forcing a scramble to adapt. The war's momentum shifted. Control of Europe hung on the Sherman's relentless tracks each mile, a testament to American ingenuity outpacing German might. The Sherman M4-A2 tanks, unscathed by flames, rolled deeper into Normandy, their tracks grinding over the scarred earth as German soldiers watched in stunned silence. The United States 2nd Armored Division under General Maurice Rose leveraged the M4-A2's engineering to sustain its advance through 1944. The tank's survival hinged on deliberate design choices that prioritized crew safety and operational continuity over sheer firepower. Fuel tanks positioned low in the hull and encased in armored compartments minimized the risk of catastrophic fires when hit by incendiary rounds. Unlike the German Panther, whose fuel lines ran exposed along its flanks, the Sherman's twin diesel engines burned cooler, reducing the chance of ignition. Wet ammunition storage, introduced in 1943, surrounded 75mm shells with a liquid barrier extinguishing sparks before they could spread. engine overhaul required after 200 hours at cruising speed. These features did not render the M4-A2 impervious to fire, but they made it far less vulnerable than its adversaries. German tanks like the Tiger I, with its 120mm frontal armor, boasted superior protection, but suffered from complexity. Their engines often failed after 100 hours. The Sherman, weighing 33 tons with 50mm of sloped frontal armor, sacrificed raw strength for reliability. When flamethrowers or Panzerfaust rounds struck the M4-A2's crew often emerged unscathed, their tanks scorched but functional, ready to rejoin the fight. German soldiers, peering from foxholes, expected flames to consume the Shermans, as they did their Panzer IVs, whose ammunition racks ignited with a single, well-placed hit. Instead, the M4-A2 pressed forward its 75mm gun, firing steadily through smoke and heat. The number that matters is survivability. Shermans returned to battle where others perished. This resilience stemmed from American engineers who anticipated the chaos of tank warfare. The M4-A2's low-profile hull at 9 feet 8 inches tall presented a smaller target than the Tiger I's towering 11 feet. Its 600-mile range at 25 miles per hour allowed it to outmaneuver static German defenses closing distances before flamethrowers could be repositioned. Historical records from the German 12th SS Panzer Division note the frustration of gunners who watched their incendiary rounds fail to halt the American advance. A single Sherman hit by a Panzerfaust at 100 meters might limp, but rarely burned its crew, firing back with grim determination. The contrast with German armor was stark. The Panther, with 80 millimeters of sloped armor, could penetrate the Sherman's hull at 1,000 meters, but its fuel system was prone to ignition when struck. The Tiger I, a 90-ton behemoth, carried an 88mm gun that outranged the Shermans, yet its weight bogged it down in Normandy's muddy fields. The Sherman's design traded such advantages for endurance, a choice that proved decisive. By August 1944, as the Allies pushed toward Caen, the M4-A2's ability to withstand fire-based attacks disrupted German tactics. Flamethrowers, once a terror weapon, became less effective. Panzerfaust operators expecting quick kills expended rounds with little result. The Sherman's engineering, rooted in simplicity and mass production, allowed the United States to field over 10,000 M4-A2s by late 1944, a number Germany could not counter. Each tank, built in under 40 hours, embodied American industrial might, its fire-resistant features, ensuring it stayed in the fight longer than expected. This technical edge reshaped the battlefield. German commanders, accustomed to exploiting fire's psychological and physical toll, faced an opponent that refused to burn. The M4-A2's resilience forced them to rethink their approach, shifting focus to long-range engagements where their heavier guns held an advantage. Yet the Sherman's sheer numbers and reliability, 40,000 produced by 1945, overwhelmed such adaptations. As the 2nd Armored Division advanced, the tank's ability to endure incendiary hits became a quiet but relentless force, eroding German confidence. The M4-A2, neither the strongest nor the fastest, proved that survival could outweigh raw power. Its engineering, forged in the crucible of war, turned the tide in Normandy, setting the stage for the Allied push into the heart of Europe. The Sherman M4-A2 tanks, emerging from flames unscathed, pressed through Normandy's hedgerows, their 75mm guns pounding German positions. In June 1944, the United States 2nd Armored Division, led by General Maurice Rose, drove relentlessly forward, exploiting the tank's fire-resistant design. German soldiers, entrenched in shallow ditches, watched in disbelief as their flamethrowers, capable of hurling fire 50 meters, failed to halt the American advance. Panzerfaust rockets, piercing 60 millimeters of steel at 100 meters, struck the M4-A2's hull, yet the tanks rolled on tracks, churning through mud and ash. "Fire cannot stop them," a German infantryman shouted, his voice drowned by the roar of diesel engines. Accounts from the German 12th SS Panzer Division under Fritz Witt reveal their shock. Shermans, engulfed by incendiary rounds, kept moving their crews, firing through swirling smoke. The Germans, who had seen their Panzer IVs erupt in flames after single hits, felt their battlefield certainties crumble. The Sherman's 600-mile range at 25 miles per hour allowed it to outpace German defenses, closing gaps before anti-tank teams could reload. The number that matters is defiance. Shermans endured where others faltered. Historical records, including a captured diary from a 12th SS soldier, describe the M4-A2 as a devil that laughs at fire, capturing the growing unease among German ranks. Flamethrowers, once a psychological weapon that sent Soviet 34 crews fleeing, now seemed impotent. Panzerfaust operators trained to target fuel tanks watched in frustration as Shermans scorched but operational returned fire. The M4-A2's low fuel tanks, shielded by steel and wet ammunition storage, encasing 75mm shells, thwarted the infernos that German tactics relied upon. In one engagement near Caen, a German anti-tank crew reported hitting a Sherman 3 times with incendiary rounds, only for it to pivot and destroy their position with a single shell. This resilience shifted the psychological tide. German troops, conditioned to expect burning wrecks, faced an enemy that absorbed their best attacks and struck back. The Sherman's endurance was not absolute. Its 50mm frontal armor could not stop an 88mm round from a Tiger I, but its fire resistance was a revelation. German soldiers, accustomed to exploiting fire's terror, saw their morale erode with each failed assault. The M4-A2, weighing 33 tons, moved with a deceptive agility, its sloped hull deflecting glancing blows. By July 1944, as the 2nd Armored Division pushed toward St. Lo, German commanders noted a shift in their troops' demeanor. The sight of Shermans advancing through flames, their guns blazing, sowed doubt in men trained to believe in their own armor's superiority. The number that matters is persistence. Sherman stayed in the fight. This psychological blow was as critical as the tactical one. German anti-tank teams, once confident, now hesitated, knowing their weapons might not suffice. The Sherman's ability to defy fire, rooted in American engineering, turned German strengths into liabilities, forcing a defensive posture. As the Allies gained ground, the M4-A2 became a symbol of relentless pressure, its unburned hulls a stark challenge to German expectations. The battlefield, thick with the stench of cordite, bore witness to a new reality the Sherman underestimated was rewriting the rules of armored warfare. The Sherman M4-A2, rolling through Normandy's smoke and fire, defied German flamethrowers, but its resilience had limits. By August 1944, the United States 2nd Armored Division under General Maurice Rose pressed deeper into France, their M4A2 tanks leading the Allied advance. The tank's 50mm frontal armor, sloped at 47 degrees, could deflect Panzerfaust rockets at range, but it crumbled under the 88mm rounds of a Tiger I, which pierced up to 185mm at 1,000 meters. Side armor, a mere 38mm, offered little protection against the Panther's 75mm gun or even a well-aimed Panzerfaust at close quarters. Turret rings and tracks critical for mobility and targeting were vulnerable to precise German fire. Wet ammunition storage required replacement after 1,000 rounds fired. A single armor-piercing hit to these weak points could halt the M4A2's 33-ton frame, leaving it a smouldering wreck despite its fire-resistant design. German forces, stunned by the Sherman's endurance, adapted swiftly, shifting from fire-based tactics to long-range precision strikes. The German 12th SS Panzer Division, led by Fritz Witt, until his death in June 1944, and later by Kurt Meyer, honed new strategies near Caen. Gunners were ordered to target the Sherman's sides and turret rings, exploiting its thinner armor. Tiger I and Panther crews with guns outranging the M4-A2's 75mm cannon engaged at 1,500 meters, where the American tank's shells lost penetration. Historical accounts note German anti-tank teams repositioning to ambush Shermans in narrow hedgerows, where close-range Panzerfaust shots could bypass fire-resistant features. Yet the Sherman's strength lay in its numbers: over 10,000 M4A2s, fielded by late 1944, and its 600-mile range at 25 miles per hour. This allowed General Rose to deploy waves of tanks, overwhelming German defenses through sheer volume. The number that matters is quantity. 40,000 Shermans dwarfed Germany's 6,000 tanks. Despite vulnerabilities, the M4A2's fire resistance forced German crews to expend more ammunition, exposing their positions to Allied counterfire. A Panther might destroy a Sherman with one shot, but the next M4A2 would advance its crew undeterred by flames licking the hull. This relentless pressure eroded German resources. By September 1944, their tank production faltered with fewer than 1,000 Panthers built that year. The Sherman's reliability, rooted in simple maintenance engine checks every 200 hours, kept it operational where German tanks broke down. American industrial might-ensured replacements arrived faster than Germany could destroy them. The psychological edge was clear. German soldiers, once confident in their heavy armor, now faced an enemy that absorbed losses and kept coming. German adaptations, though effective, could not stem the tide. The 12th SS, stretched thin, struggled to counter the 2nd Armored Division's coordinated assaults. Shermans, even when disabled, rarely burned, allowing crews to escape and fight another day. This survivability, paired with mass production, made the M4A2 a strategic nightmare for German commanders. As the Allies neared the Rhine, the Sherman's ability to endure incendiary attacks while maintaining operational tempo shifted the war's momentum. Its weaknesses, thin armor, underpowered gun, were real, but its fire-resistant design and sheer numbers turned these flaws into mere inconveniences. The M4A2, scarred but relentless, embodied a truth endurance could outlast even the deadliest precision. German tank crews, their faces grim, watched Sherman M4-A2 tanks emerge from flames, their flamethrowers useless against unyielding steel. The myth of German tank supremacy, built on the Tiger I's 88mm gun and the Panther's sloped 80mm armor, unraveled in Normandy's blood-soaked fields. By August 1944, the United States 2nd Armored Division under General Maurice Rose exploited the M4A2's endurance to outmaneuver the German 12th SS Panzer Division, now led by Kurt Meyer. The Sherman's 600-mile range at 25 miles per hour allowed it to sustain operations far beyond the Tiger I's 120-mile limit. Transmission rebuilt after 800 hours of operation. Its fire-resistant design, low-mounted fuel tanks shielded by steel wet ammunition storage, encasing 75mm shells ensured survival, where German tanks burned. A 12th SS report from Köln described Shermans advancing through incendiary barrages, their crews firing relentlessly as a wall of steel that fire cannot break. The number that matters is persistence. Shermans outlasted their foes. German soldiers, once dismissive of the M4A2's 50mm armor and 33-ton frame, now feared its relentless advance. Over 40,000 Shermans, including 10,000 M4A2s, flooded Europe by 1945, dwarfing Germany's 6,000 operational tanks. This numerical edge, paired with fire resistance, shattered German confidence. Panzerfaust operators expecting to ignite fuel tanks watched their rockets scorch hulls without stopping the tanks. Flamethrower teams, trained to sow panic, saw Shermans roll through 50-meter firebursts, their 75mm guns answering with deadly precision. The psychological toll was profound. A captured German officer's letter described the M4A2 as not the strongest, but the one that never dies, reflecting a growing dread among troops. The Sherman's endurance, rooted in American engineering, turned German tactics into liabilities, forcing crews to expose themselves to destroy a single tank only for another to take its place. The battlefield's reality clashed with German propaganda of invincible armor. The Tiger I, weighing 90 tons, bogged down in mud, its complex mechanics failing after 100 hours. The Panther, though agile, burned when fuel lines were hit. The M4A2, built in 40 hours, survived hits that would have gutted either its simplicity, ensuring reliability. By September 1944, as the 2nd Armored Division pushed toward the Rhine, German morale cracked. Soldiers, conditioned to believe in their tank's superiority, faced a relentless enemy that absorbed punishment and kept advancing. The Sherman's fire resistance, not its firepower, redefined the fight. Historical accounts note 12th SS crews hesitating, their confidence eroded by the sight of unburned M4A2s closing in. The Allies' industrial might 40,000 tanks against Germany's dwindling arsenal amplified this effect, making each Sherman a symbol of inevitability. German commanders, once certain of tactical dominance, grappled with a new truth. Their fire-based strategies were obsolete against an enemy that refused to burn. The M4-A2's resilience paired with its overwhelming numbers exposed the limits of German heavy armor. As the Allies neared Aachen, the Sherman became a psychological weapon, its unyielding presence undermining the narrative of German invincibility. The tank, underestimated as undergunned and underarmored, proved that survival could trump raw power. Its tracks grinding through Normandy's ash marked the collapse of a myth, paving the way for the Allied advance into Germany's heart. The Sherman M4-A2 tanks, their hulls scarred but unburned, spearheaded the Allied advance, leaving German defenses in disarray. By 1945, the United States 2nd Armored Division under General Maurice Rose, until his death in March, drove through Germany their M4-A2 tanks relentless. Over 40,000 Shermans, including 10,000 M4-A2s, flooded Europe their 600-mile range at 25 miles per hour, enabling sustained campaigns from Normandy to the Rhine. The tank's fire-resistant design fuel tanks, low and shielded wet ammunition storage, protecting 75mm shells, kept it operational through incendiary attacks that crippled German Panzer IVs and Panthers. The number that matters is endurance. Shermans outlasted 6,000 German tanks. This resilience, rooted in American engineering, allowed crews to survive hits, return fire, and press forward, turning battles into routes. As the Allies captured Aachen and crossed the Rhine, the M4-A2's ability to defy flames proved decisive, undermining German tactics reliant on fire's terror. German forces, including the 12th SS Panzer Division under Kurt Meyer, faced a dwindling arsenal. Fewer than 1,000 Panthers remained by April 1945. Their Tiger I tanks with 88mm guns, penetrating 185mm at 1,000 meters, could destroy Shermans, but their 90-ton frames broke down after 100 hours. The M4-A2, built in 40 hours, required engine checks every 200 hours, ensuring reliability where German armor faltered. Historical records note German crews' despair as Shermans absorbed Panzerfaust hits and kept advancing their numbers, overwhelming defensive lines. The Sherman's 50mm armor and 75mm gun were outclassed by heavier German tanks, yet its fire resistance and mass production, 40,000 units against Germany's 6,000, shifted the war's tide. Each M4-A2 rolling through smoke embodied American industrial might, its survival, a rebuke to German claims of superiority. The Sherman's impact extended beyond the battlefield. By May 1945, as Berlin fell, the M4-A2 had become a symbol of Allied tenacity. Its ability to endure incendiary attacks allowed the 2nd Armored Division to maintain momentum, capturing key towns and bridges. German soldiers, once confident in their flamethrowers and incendiary rounds, faced a psychological defeat. Their weapons, designed to ignite, failed against an enemy that refused to burn. Post-war, the Sherman's design influenced future tanks, its emphasis on reliability and crew safety, setting a standard. The M4-A2's legacy was not in raw power, but in its capacity to absorb punishment and keep fighting, a trait that proved invaluable against Germany's dwindling resources. Over 10,000 M4-A2s served in Europe, their tracks carving paths through the wreckage of the Third Reich. The Sherman's role in victory was clear. Its fire-resistant features paired with unmatched production overwhelmed German defenses. As the Allies liberated Europe, the M4-A2 stood as proof that endurance could triumph over firepower. Germany's defeat, hastened by the tank's relentless presence, marked the end of their armored dominance. The M4-A2, neither the strongest nor the fastest, became a testament to American ingenuity. Its unburned hulls, a lasting symbol of a war won through persistence and industrial might. In the annals of history, the Sherman's legacy endures, a machine that defied flames and reshaped the battlefield, ensuring the Allied triumph.